Pablo Cano wins a 12-round split decision over Ashley Theophane. This was a fight that Theophane could have won, but tactically he got it wrong. Now, I don't know if he got it wrong tactically on purpose. I don't know if it was an intentional tactical move or whether it was the occasion that maybe got to Theophane a little bit and he wasn't boxing to his full potential early on in the fight. But pretty much for the first, 4 or 5 rounds of the fight, Theophane was running. There's no other way to describe it. He was running. He was moving all around the ring constantly, never staying in one place for more than a couple seconds. He was doing an Amir Khan in there, Khan versus Maidana or Peterson. It was similar to that. The guy was running all around the ring. So, early on he was running and I felt that was working against him. He was also constantly trying to throw this check left hook all the time and it wasn't working, but he kept throwing it. Because he was trying to angle himself to land this check left hook, he kept getting caught with right hands over the top because his timing was off and he was moving too much. But when Theophane stood his ground more towards the middle rounds, he started having more success. Now, I don't think he should have stayed in the pocket and just slugged it out with Cano. That's not what I'm saying. But I think he should have stood his ground in spots a lot more in the fight and he would have had more success. I think that Ashley Theophane, quite a lot of the time in fights, underestimates his own punching power. Theophane don't have great technique. He loops most of his punches. He don't throw as many straight shots as a guy with his kind of style should. His punches always seem to have a loop on them and it seems to be a bit crude. But I think he does have more power than his record suggests. And I think he has more power than even he maybe realizes. Because when he did stand his ground with Cano, to me it seemed clear he was able to get his respect. And I thought he did stun Cano on several occasions in this fight. Although Theophane himself was even more badly stunned by Cano. But yeah, I felt if Theophane had stood his ground more early in the fight, it was interesting. When Theophane was on the back foot, Cano was having more success landing clean shots. But when Cano actually stood, when Theophane actually stood with Cano, right? When Theophane was moving around, Cano had more success landing clean shots. But when Theophane actually stood with Cano, I thought Theophane was getting the better of it. He was landing the more clean shots. I felt he was a bit quicker on the inside. He was a bit quicker in the pocket than Cano, and he was able to get his big shots off better and more accurately. And he was also able to get Cano's respect. I felt if he'd done that from earlier in the fight, he could have got the decision. But all that running around early on, I think, cost him. It cost him. And not only did it cost him on the scorecards, but I think he took more punishment because he fought like that. I think he would have been better off standing his ground a little bit more, similar to how Danny Garcia fought against Lucas Matisse. Danny wasn't running. He was moving, but he wasn't running. There was a lot more composure there. He stood his ground in spots and banged it out with Matisse and then moved off to the side. If Theophane had done something more similar to that, I think he may well have won the fight. But hats off to Pablo Cano. He did his thing. Workman-like victory for him, although, nothing too impressive, but it was a workman-like victory. Theophane, he just signed with, the money team. I'm not really sure where his career is going to go. Again, he's another blue-collar fighter. He's come up the hard way. This guy ain't had nothing handed to him. He's done it all the old school way. But technique-wise, Ashley's always been a bit crude technique-wise, especially for a guy of his style who's more of a boxer-puncher. Ashley's a smart guy. He's an experienced guy. He's tough. But I just feel technique-wise, he needs to straighten out his punches. All those looping shots. And I know sometimes guys will loop punches when they're against a guy like Cano because he puts the earmuffs on, as Teddy Atlas would say. So they try and loop punches around his guard. Well, the better way, sometimes the looping shots do work. I'm not going to lie. But the better way to land punches around someone's guard is to get an angle on him. Yeah, rather than having to loop your shots because, you have to square up your shoulders and it makes you more vulnerable. Try and get an angle on him so you're round his left side. You know, feint left, step right and bang in the right hand straight. Yeah, or you know, feint to the body, get him to drop his arm and then hit him with a straight shot. You know, with straight shots, you get full extension, so you're, you know, keeping your distance from your opponent. The straight shots are harder to read, right? And they're much quicker to the target. Yeah, so you know, Ashley needs to sort out his technique, but at this stage of the game, I think he's 32 or 33 years old now. It's unlikely that this old dog could be taught any new tricks. It's unlikely. But, you know, I wish him all the best, man, because he's done things the hard way. And, you know, when a guy that's come up the hard way like Ashley, you always like to see them have success in their career, you know, because they've worked literally for everything they've done. You know, they haven't been pampered. I know people like Floyd and stuff like that have also worked hard, but Floyd was an Olympian. You know, he was signed by Bob Arum at an early stage of his career and he was groomed for success. Yeah. Other guys out there like your Carlos Molinas and your Ashley Theophane, even guys like Hagler and Bernard Hopkins, these guys were not groomed for success. These guys were thrown to the sharks early on. Yeah, a lot of them had bad management. They were not groomed and they were not given the right fights at the right time to bring them on in terms of development. They were just thrown in tough fights right away and said, boy, deal with it. You know, and they were told to deal with it. So those kind of guys, it's hard not to root for them in their careers. It's hard not to root for them because you know they ain't been given anything. They ain't been managed properly. They ain't been given the right fights and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, I wish Ashley all the best, but just as an observer looking into his career, I'm not sure that they can teach him much at this stage, you know, at this particular stage. He's 33 years old now. I think he's pretty much stuck in his ways. So I hope he proves me wrong, man, because I'd like to see the guy be successful, but I just can't see him doing that much. I think he's always going to be at the fringe contender level, you know, more of a gatekeeper in the division. But anyway, we'll see, man. Drop your comments in the comment section below. Let me know how you felt about this. Also, let me know where you feel Cano can go from here. I think Cano is, to be honest with you, I think Cano is on a pretty similar level to Theophane, even though he's got a better record in terms of, actually, he doesn't really have that much of a better record, but yeah, I think he's on the same kind of level to Theophane. I think he's going to be more of a gatekeeper. I don't really see him being one of the top guys in the division. I think he's more of a gatekeeper, just like Theophane. Hey, you may even see a rematch between Cano and Theophane down the line. That's possible. I think if Theophane sorts out his, you know, tactics next time and stands his ground a little bit more early on, I think he might be able to beat Cano. So yeah, anyway, drop your comments below. This is Hatman. I'm out.